news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. There's your closing bell for this Wednesday on Wall Street, where traders are looking to NVIDIA data to assure them over the AI market. Those numbers coming out within the hour. We'll bring them right to you. But for now, let's check the close. Green on the screen. We do this for you each day here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 gained 56 points. NASDAQ gained 288. The Dow gained 308 points. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.05%. The 2-year yield at 3.46%. Bitcoin has gained, almost 8% now, hovering near $69,000. Salesforce gave a lukewarm outlook for sales growth in the new fiscal year, fueling Wall Street's worries that the software giant will lose out to new competitors in the age of AI. Salesforce shares are down nearly 4% in the post-market. Paramount shares are more than 2% lower in after-hours trading in the midst of its takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount's fourth quarter operating loss was $339 million and profit was $309 million. NVIDIA facing a high-stakes moment with its latest quarterly results that's coming up in minutes. Bloomberg Intelligence Global Head of Tech Research, Mandeep Singh, says there are a couple of readings to track growth.
The data center revenue and how much upside can they get from the China market? And then the hyperscale CapEx changes that we have heard, most of them have given a better than expected outlook on their CapEx increases, and that should translate into better growth for NVIDIA.
To satisfy investors, NVIDIA likely needs to deliver another blockbuster report. That report should be coming any minute now. As soon as it does, we'll bring it right to you. Cuban forces killed 4 people and wounded 6 others. They were traveling in a speedboat with Florida tags and opened fire on the island's border patrol. The occupants of the vessel opened fire on those security forces, injuring the commander of the military vessel when approached to identify the passengers. U.S. and Cuban tensions are running high as President Trump has effectively imposed a naval blockade on the communist-run island and dramatically reduced its access to fuel. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is resigning from teaching at Harvard University amid a campus review of his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Summers, who has been on leave since November and whose name appeared hundreds of times in newly released Epstein files, will leave at the end of this school year. The European Union says U.S. tariffs are a break from their trade deal on more than 4 billion euros of goods. The EU-U.S. trade deal was struck last summer and would impose a 15% tariff on most EU exports to the U.S. while removing tariffs on many American goods heading into the bloc. Sources tell Bloomberg that President Trump's new policy will actually increase duties above that 15% maximum allowed level on European exports of cheese, butter, agricultural products, plastics, textiles, and chemicals. President Trump announced during last night's State of the Union address he will continue to impose tariffs through other authorities after the Supreme Court decision to revoke his emergency duties. He started with a 150-day 10% global tariff, but U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says he'll bump that up to 15% where appropriate.
We'll put out a supplemental proclamation that the president will sign, going to 15% where appropriate. Remember, before the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs, a lot of these countries had agreed to have tariffs, U.S. tariffs on them of 18%, 19%, 20%. So going up to 15%, for them, at least temporarily, it's better than the deal that they had.
And Greer says there are ongoing investigations into foreign trade practices that are deemed unreasonable or discriminatory.
We have many others that we are preparing right now and we expect to launch in the coming days and weeks, such as related to forced labor in supply chains, industrial excess capacity, or unfair trading practices with respect to fishing or seafood or rice or subsidies for certain products and that kind of thing.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer was a guest on Bloomberg Surveillance. You can hear that entire conversation on Bloomberg.com/videos. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.